matures at different ages, but just to be safe, I don't think 18 is like the safe age to be able to own a firearm.
Actually, could I change my decision?
Of course.
After like hearing all of the ideas, I do think 18 is definitely a little bit too young to own a gun.
I'm Pratyush, I'm he, him, and I'm a senior.
Okay, I'm Abhay Chidarala, he, him, senior.
I'm Jonathan Chen, and I'm he, him, and I'm senior.
Arna Burji, she, her, and I'm a sophomore.
My name is Naomi Womacher, she, her, and I'm a junior.
My name is Mr. Pelkey, I'm a senior citizen.
Current gun control laws are adequate in the United States.
I think, from what I understand, like gun control, there's like one side of it is like banning certain firearms. I think that's not really effective, and therefore like it's what we have right now is adequate. But then there's like the flip side of like background checks and stuff, and that like could be improved. But I think the way that we're doing it may not be the right direction.
I definitely think that the gun control laws in California are definitely better than other places in the world, but I think we do have a lot of room to improve because definitely, like, anyone can buy a gun above the age of 21, and I feel like, in my personal opinion, that no, like, public citizen should be able to own one.
The right to bear arms doesn't mean automatic weapons. I can buy at a gun show an automatic, semi-automatic. I can get a little converter kit and convert it and shoot up a whole school the next day. And all I need is a driver's license, and that's in the state of California. That's pathetically ridiculous. You have a right to protect yourself. You have a right to have a gun. If you're an enthusiast, you have a right to hunt. But if you got to hunt with a machine gun, you're not going to hit the deer.
I said disagree for some of the same reasons as Mr. Palkey, but also because I took adequate for face value. I think that with the amount of mass shootings that are happening in the USA right now, adequate is not the term for gun laws in the USA, which is why I don't agree with that statement.
Gun violence is a serious issue in the United States.
Gun violence is one of the leading causes of death in America, which is definitely an issue that could be easily solved because there are so many school shootings that have happened this year alone, and we're only into March. And to think that there are so many innocent lives that could have been saved, especially lives of like minorities, like Black lives, trans lives, all of those lives, like they do matter. And I feel like if there were less ways to cause like genocide and mass harm, it would be reduced.
There's way too many shootings. I was a paramedic. I ran on over 100 shootings. No bad guy was ever shot that I know of. I just watched a lot of people die over the years, and nobody cares. We don't hear about it. We only hear about the big mass ones, not the day-to-day shootings that happen all over the place. It's pathetic.
The current age requirement of 18 years old for purchasing guns is acceptable.
Personally, I don't have issues with the gun age being 18, but I do think it's a little bit weird that you're not allowed to drink at 18, but you are allowed to join the army and have a gun at 18. I think it's fitting to be able to purchase a gun at 18 if you're able to join the army at 18, but I think 21 would also be a respectable age.
Well, having vaguely remember when I was 18 and when I was 21 and when I was 25, I can tell you at 18 I was a little kid and I didn't know what I was doing. 21 I wasn't all that much better, but I was a little bit better. By 25 I was probably okay. The brain doesn't develop that quickly. And I think impulsive shootings is what happens. People shoot people and then regret it. And I think you have to have a lot of gun safety. And so 18's, you're not going to change that much between 17 and 18. It's not like you turn 18 and lightning hits you and all of a sudden you're an adult now. It takes a while to become an adult.
Same, I completely agree with that because obviously you're not allowed to drink until 21 because your brain isn't mature enough for the alcohol or whatever. But I think for the same reason, being able to own like a weapon of mass murder isn't acceptable for an 18-year-old, because I don't think lightning just strikes you at 18 and suddenly you're mature. And yeah, everyone matures at different ages, but just to be safe, I don't think 18 is like the safe age to be able to own a firearm.
Actually, could I change my decision?
Of course.
After like hearing all of the ideas, I do think 18 is definitely a little bit too young to own a gun, because like a major reason that changing like the age of alcohol and drinking is because 18-year-olds are still able to be in high school and they can easily like distribute it to like 14-year-olds and even like middle schools. And like having a gun like at 18, like when you're a high school student, that could raise the issues like school shootings, and it can also like provide like distributors to like younger ages.
Limiting the access to guns will decrease gun violence-related deaths.
Compared to other countries, it's extremely easy to get a gun in America, and I think taking away like the whole black market thing or whatever, if we like banned how many guns are able to be sold or whatever, I think that would take away a big part of the problem.
If you look at the European nations like Britain and Germany, Belgium, France, where they have gun restrictions, the shooting deaths are much lower than they are in America, where we have a lot of guns. Any place that they restrict those arms, that happens. There'll still be other killings, because people will do what people will do. But the nature of a weapon is a gun is that you can empty a clip into a number of people instead of just one.
Alright, I think restricting firearms would, in the context of like mass shootings, maybe it would reduce them a little bit, but I feel like most people, if someone is motivated to actually hurt somebody, they still find a way. But in the context of gun-related suicide, I think it's definitely it's a big factor, because if you don't have guns, you can't shoot yourself. But then again, there's like, if someone's motivated enough, they'll find a way.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I feel like most people will find, like, it will reduce death, but especially in like a lot of like gang violence, there's a huge like gun black market. So I feel like people will still find it would still be pretty easy to find a way to shoot someone, but just like drugs are still like pretty easy for people to find, and still like a huge issue even though most substances are banned. So I feel like it would reduce it, but it wouldn't be that big of a change.
Okay. Everyone has the right to own a gun.
Yeah, I agree. I think that people should have the right to bear arms, but at the same time, if you have like mental health issues that might make you susceptible to trying to hurt someone or trying to shoot someone, then maybe you shouldn't. And also, if you have like a history of like gun violence, like if you ever shot someone like and went to jail for that, I feel like you shouldn't have the right after you come out of jail.
I'm kind of where they are. Violent felons I don't think should have guns. I don't think that there's certain mental illnesses that if you could put a gun in your hand, you're asking people to be hurt. Most mental illnesses don't have that kind of problem, but there are a handful that do. So I would say that probably the majority of people could use a gun. They can use a gun responsibly, but there's a handful of people out there that really have to be monitored.
Yeah, I agree with mostly what they said, and I feel like definitely majority of people should have freedom to own a gun, but like if there's any case where people might be a harm to society in a way that it might put others in harm's way, then they should not own a firearm.
I don't think the public should be able to use guns, even if like it's in self-defense, because when people need a gun in self-defense, it's usually because the other person has a gun, and it's the only thing that has like equal power. But I think other like protection devices like tasers or pepper spray are adequate uses of protection that people in public should be able to use. But I also think that cops shouldn't be able to have as much access to guns as they do. I think they should definitely go through more training. They should be able to understand like the impact of a bullet and like how often like they should really be threatening with it.
I think owning a gun is a privilege more than it is a right. Just like owning a car is a privilege, you have to go through training, you have to go through, it's easier to get your hands on a car, but obviously you can do more damage with a gun than you can with a car, and for that reason I think owning a gun is a privilege, and there has to be like stricter regulations on who owns a gun, because I don't think everyone has a right to own a gun.
Last question. Schools should arm teachers with firearms to protect students.
Right to have a firearm. Well, that's only because of like the current situation that the U.S. is in, with the amount of like mass shootings being occurring like all over the U.S. Like I feel that if teachers were to just been like go through a small background check or like some sort of background check, like where you can have firearms, you know, they can possibly prevent some more cases of mass shooting. And yeah, I just feel that it's only because of the current state that the U.S. is in with the mass shootings that are occurring all over the place.
Alright, I think teachers should have the option, but it's not like, once again, we like have the thing about whether everybody should be able to have a gun at 18. I forget what the question was exactly, but I mean, teachers are people too. I think some teachers would be more, you know, not like maybe like able or like mature or like able to handle that, and then some teachers wouldn't. So there's like I don't think all teachers should, but they should be given the option to you know, have a firearm if they want to.
Yeah, so I kind of agree with that. And building off of that once you arm teachers, you bring like a whole lot of issues, like other issues, like with that, like if someone else can get their hands on it or something like that. So I feel like yeah, some teachers maybe if they prove that they're like responsible enough and they can keep it out of the hands of anyone else, then yeah. But I feel like in general it's not a good idea.
I personally just don't think that guns are a thing that should be in the classroom, period, because fighting fire with fire is not something that has proven to be effective in the past. And I think that the best way to prevent school shootings is just overall to limit the amount of like guns that can come in contact with a school.
No teacher should ever be allowed to have a gun at school. You work with kids, even if you keep it on your person, you work with them at such close range, somebody pulls the gun out of your pocket, all of a sudden things happen. If you put it at your desk, somebody can go up to your desk, it goes that way. If you have a gun and you have a school shooter on campus, now you go out with your gun to the school shooter and the cops see you. What are they gonna do? They're not gonna ask questions, they're gonna gun you down. Nobody should ever, no teacher should have a gun on campus. Have you seen the anxiety level of your teachers?
I was gonna say exactly what Mr. Pelkey said. I don't think guns should be in schools, and I don't think a lot of teachers want to own guns. But not only that, like, what's the practicality of having a gun in school? Obviously, there's gonna be a lot of ways to get to the gun, no matter how hard you try to stop that, and I don't think that's safe at all.